Have you ever wondered why you keep waking up at night to urinate, even though you're doing everything right? Drinking black bean water, avoiding salty foods, taking supplements, yet your kidney numbers still don't improve. As Dr. Mark Ellis, I need to warn you of something urgent, because what most people believe is protecting their kidneys may actually be giving them a false sense of safety, while silent damage continues day after day. Here's the hard truth. Most people are never told by the time kidney problems cause real pain fatigue or swelling, the damage has often been happening for years. Waking up multiple times at night, foamy urine, rising creatinine, these are not normal signs of aging. They are early warning alarms, and ignoring them can quietly push someone closer to dialysis than they ever imagined. I've seen too many patients come to me and say, "Doctor, I thought black beans were enough. I thought I was safe." But kidneys don't fail overnight. They fade slowly, silently, while we rely on just one food and miss the deeper support they truly need. In this video, I'm going to show you what most people overlook: simple traditional foods that go far beyond gentle cleansing and actually help support, nourish, and protect kidney cells themselves. Some of these foods may already be sitting in your kitchen right now, yet they've been shown to support better sleep, reduce nighttime urination, and ease the burden on aging kidneys when used correctly. And I strongly encourage you to stay with me until the end, because the final food I'll share is one that even surprised me when I reviewed the medical evidence behind it. For many older adults, it has made the difference between restless nights and deep sleep, between fear and confidence, between decline and hope. If you care about protecting your kidneys while you still can, this may be one of the most important videos you listen to today. For decades, black beans have been praised as a natural kidney remedy. They're known for their mild detox effect, their cooling nature, and their ability to gently increase urination. And yes, used correctly, black beans can support overall fluid balance. But here's the problem: most people never hear about gentle cleansing is not the same as kidney repair. I often hear patients say, "Doctor, I drink black bean water every day. I thought that was enough." One patient in his late 60s came to see me exhausted, waking up 4 or 5 times every night to urinate. He had been drinking black bean water faithfully for nearly 2 years. Yet his lab results told a different story. His creatinine levels were slowly rising, and his kidney filtration rate was quietly declining. Nothing dramatic, no pain, just slow, silent damage. From a medical perspective, black beans mainly work on the surface level. They help flush fluids, but they do not actively support the regeneration or protection of kidney cells. According to clinical nutrition research, kidney aging is driven not only by toxin buildup, but by oxidative stress, chronic inflammation, and microvascular damage inside the kidneys themselves. Foods that only increase urination do little to slow this internal process. In fact, studies show that age-related kidney decline can begin as early as the mid-40s, with filtration capacity decreasing by about 1% per year if no protective interventions are in place. This is why relying on a single healthy food can create a dangerous illusion of safety. You feel proactive, but the kidneys continue to weaken quietly. As Dr. Mark Ellis, I always remind my patients, kidneys are not like a dirty cup that only needs rinsing. They are more like a delicate filter that needs constant nourishment, protection, and repair. Cleansing alone is never enough. And this is where many people unknowingly make their biggest mistake, trusting one familiar remedy while overlooking foods that actually help rebuild kidney strength from the inside out. But understanding this mistake is only the first step, because there's another factor far more powerful that most people completely ignore. And it changes everything. If black beans are like gently rinsing the kidneys, then Chinese yam does something very different. It feeds the system at its roots. This is where kidney support stops being about flushing and starts becoming about rebuilding. In traditional medicine, Chinese yam has long been used not because it works fast, but because it works deeply, especially for aging bodies that have been quietly worn down over decades. I remember a patient in his late 60s who came to me frustrated and confused. He wasn't in pain, but every night he woke up 3 or 4 times to urinate. His energy was low. His legs felt weak, and mornings felt heavier than they used to. Like many others, he relied on black bean water for years, assuming consistency would eventually pay off. It didn't. When I suggested adding Chinese yam into his meals just a few times a week, he was skeptical. It seemed too simple to matter. But after 6 weeks, something changed. He told me his sleep felt deeper, Nighttime urination dropped to once, sometimes not at all. His follow-up labs showed his creatinine had stabilized instead of continuing its slow climb. That's when he said something I hear often: I didn't realize my kidneys needed nourishment, not just cleansing. Science supports this experience. Chinese yam contains bioactive compounds such as diosgenin and resistant starch, which help reduce oxidative stress and improve glucose and lipid metabolism. These mechanisms matter because oxidative damage and metabolic overload are two major drivers of kidney cell aging. Research shows that reducing oxidative stress can significantly slow the decline of kidney filtration in older adults, especially when done consistently through diet. As Dr. Mark Ellis, I often explain it this way: kidneys are like rechargeable batteries. Washing them doesn't recharge them, feeding them properly does. Chinese yam does exactly that. It supports digestion, stabilizes blood sugar, and indirectly reduces the workload placed on fragile kidney filters. The best part is how practical it is. Steamed, cooked into porridge, or added to soups, Chinese yam fits easily into everyday meals without shocking the body or causing side effects when used correctly. But here's what most people don't realize: nourishing the kidneys alone still isn't the full picture, because there's another common food many people trust that may quietly be working against them. And that's where things become even more serious. After patients understand that kidneys need nourishment, not just cleansing, the next question is always the same: is there something strong enough to help but gentle enough for my age? This is where Chinese yam root earns its nickname as the poor man's ginseng. Not because it works like a stimulant, but because it supports the body slowly, steadily, and safely, which is exactly what aging kidneys require. I once treated a man in his early 70s who had lived with type 2 diabetes for over a decade. His blood sugar was unstable, his digestion was weak, and his kidney function had started to slip. He wasn't looking for a miracle, he just wanted to avoid things getting worse. Instead of adding another supplement, I asked him to make one simple change: eat Chinese yam root 2 to 3 times a week, prepared plainly alongside his regular meals. 3 months later, his follow-up results surprised even him. His blood sugar fluctuations were smaller, his digestion improved, and most importantly, his kidney markers stopped trending downward. He slept better and felt less drained during the day. What changed wasn't a drug, it was metabolic pressure being lifted off his kidneys. From a scientific standpoint, this makes sense. Chinese yam root contains mucilage amylase and complex polysaccharides that support gut health and slow glucose absorption. Research shows that stabilizing post-meal blood sugar can significantly reduce stress on the kidney's filtering units, especially in older adults with insulin resistance. In long-term observational studies, diets that reduce glycemic spikes are associated with a lower risk of chronic kidney disease progression. As Dr. Mark Ellis, I often explain this simply: when digestion is weak and blood sugar swings wildly, the kidneys are forced to compensate. Chinese yam doesn't push the kidneys to work harder, it helps the body need them less. That's the kind of support aging organs respond to best. Steamed, boiled, or added to soups, Chinese yam root is easy to digest and rarely causes side effects when eaten in moderation. It doesn't shock the system, it steadies it. But chi biet gio nai thoi chua yu viko mot yu tukak gai hiem hon. By this point, many people start to realize something important. Kidney problems are rarely just about the kidneys alone. Sleep disruption, chronic fatigue, pale skin, and frequent nighttime urination often point to a deeper imbalance between kidney function and blood health. This is where Lotus root plays a unique role because it doesn't choose one system over the other. It supports both quietly and effectively. I remember an older woman in her early 70s who came to see me looking exhausted. She wasn't in severe pain, but she slept poorly, woke up several times each night to urinate, and felt lightheaded in the mornings. Her lab work showed mild kidney decline, along with early signs of anemia. She had tried supplements and herbal teas, yet nothing seemed to restore her energy. Instead of adding more pills, I suggested something simple: lotus root soup in the evening, just a few times a week. After 1 month, she returned with a smile I won't forget. Her sleep had deepened. She was waking up less at night. Her color looked healthier, and she said she finally felt strong enough to cook breakfast again without feeling drained. Nothing dramatic, just steady improvement. That's how lotus root works. From a medical perspective, lotus root is rich in dietary fiber, vitamin C, iron, and polyphenols. These nutrients help reduce chronic inflammation and improve circulation, both of which are critical for aging kidneys. Studies show that long-term low-grade inflammation can accelerate kidney decline, while improved blood flow helps deliver oxygen and nutrients to kidney tissue, slowing degeneration. Iron intake also matters because anemia is a common and often overlooked complication in people with declining kidney function. As Dr. Mark Ellis, I often tell patients that kidneys don't fail loudly, they weaken quietly when blood quality and circulation are ignored. Lotus root helps cool internal heat, calm inflammation, and support healthier blood production, which indirectly takes pressure off the kidneys and improves sleep quality. Practically, lotus root is easy to use. Simmered with lean meat, added to soups, or lightly stewed in the evening, it creates a calming effect that many older adults notice within weeks. The only caution is for those with very sensitive digestion. Because lotus root is cooling, it should be eaten warm and in moderation. As we move deeper into kidney protection, one truth becomes impossible to ignore. Many kidney problems don't start with failure, they start with congestion. Waste products linger fluids, don't move efficiently, and pressure slowly builds inside the system. This is where white radish quietly steps in, acting like a natural support filter that helps the kidneys release what no longer belongs. I once met a man in his early 60s who came to me worried about foamy urine and persistent bloating. His blood pressure was creeping upward, and his lab tests showed early stress on kidney function. He wasn't sick enough for medication changes yet, but he was clearly heading in the wrong direction. What stood out was his diet, heavy, salty, and low in fiber. Instead of starting with pills, I asked him to add one simple habit: white radish soup or lightly cooked radish several times a week. 2 months later, his follow-up visit told a different story. The foamy urine had reduced, his digestion felt lighter, and his blood pressure readings were more stable. He didn't feel treated, he felt unburdened. That's exactly how white radish works. Scientifically, white radish is rich in fiber, vitamin C, and sulfur-containing compounds that support detoxification pathways and reduce inflammatory stress. It also helps increase urine output, gently aiding the elimination of excess uric acid, one of the key contributors to kidney stones and gout, especially in older adults. Studies show that elevated uric acid levels are strongly associated with faster kidney function decline and higher cardiovascular risk. Helping the body clear this waste reduces pressure on fragile kidney filters. As Dr. Mark Ellis, I often explain it this way: the kidneys are like a water purification system. When upstream pipes are clogged, even the best filter struggles. White radish helps clear those pipes, improving digestion, easing fluid movement, and allowing the kidneys to do their job with less strain. What makes white radish especially valuable is its practicality. It's inexpensive, widely available, and easy to prepare. Stewed in soups, cooked with lean protein, or even lightly simmered with ginger, it supports kidney health without shocking the body or causing dependency. As kidney function weakens with age, one silent driver often hides in plain sight: unstable blood sugar. Many people focus only on salt or protein, yet forget that repeated sugar spikes force the kidneys to work overtime, filtering excess glucose day after day. This is where sweet potatoes become surprisingly powerful, not as a cure, but as a steady regulator that takes pressure off aging kidneys. I once worked with a man in his mid-60s who struggled with frequent nighttime urination and restless sleep. His blood pressure was borderline, his blood sugar fluctuated after meals, and his kidney markers were beginning to drift upward. He wasn't overeating sweets, but his diet relied heavily on refined white rice at night. Instead of adding medication, I suggested one simple swap: replace part of his evening starch with a small portion of boiled sweet potato. Within 8 weeks, the change was noticeable. He woke up fewer times at night, felt less bloated, and his morning energy improved. His labs didn't show miracles, but they showed stability, which is exactly what protects kidneys over time. He told me, "It feels like my body finally stopped fighting itself at night." Science explains why. Sweet potatoes are rich in soluble fiber, which slows glucose absorption and prevents sharp post-meal sugar spikes. Research shows that stabilizing blood sugar can significantly reduce stress on the kidney's filtration units, especially in older adults with insulin resistance. Sweet potatoes also provide potassium, which helps counter sodium, regulate fluid balance, and support healthier blood pressure, another key factor in slowing kidney decline. As Dr. Mark Ellis, I remind patients that kidneys suffer most from extremes: high sugar, high pressure, high strain. Sweet potatoes don't push the body, they calm it. Eaten in moderation, they help the kidneys work more efficiently without being overwhelmed. The key is portion and timing. One small sweet potato, boiled or baked a few times per week, especially in the evening, can support digestion, improve sleep quality, and reduce nighttime urination. Overeating, however, can cause bloating, so balance always matters. By now, one pattern should be clear: kidneys don't break down from one single mistake, they weaken when blood pressure, blood sugar, and circulation stay out of balance for too long. And this is where Kudzu root quietly becomes a game changer, especially for older adults whose systems are already running on thinner margins. I once treated a patient in his early 60s who lived for years with unstable blood pressure and borderline diabetes. Medication helped, but he complained of constant fatigue, lightheaded afternoons, and restless sleep at night. His kidney labs weren't alarming yet, but they were drifting in the wrong direction. Instead of increasing his prescriptions, I suggested something simple and traditional: a warm cup of Kudzu root drink in the late afternoon, just a few times a week. 1 month later, he returned noticeably calmer. His blood pressure readings were more stable. His blood sugar swings were smaller, and he said something important: "My body feels less tense, like it's not fighting anymore." That tension is exactly what damages kidneys over time. From a scientific standpoint, Kudzu root contains isoflavones, such as puerin compounds shown to improve blood vessel dilation and enhance microcirculation. Better circulation means more oxygen and nutrients reaching kidney tissue and less internal stress on the filtration system. Research also shows that improved vascular flexibility helps lower blood pressure and reduces glucose-related kidney strain, two major predictors of chronic kidney disease progression. As Dr. Mark Ellis, I often explain that kidneys suffer when blood arrives under pressure or loaded with excess sugar. Kudzu root doesn't force the kidneys to work harder. It helps the blood arrive gentler, cleaner, and calmer. That's why it's especially helpful for people dealing with both metabolic and kidney concerns at the same time. Kudzu root is easy to use when respected properly. Taken as a warm drink, it soothes digestion, reduces internal heat, and supports more restful evenings. However, moderation matters. Too much can cause digestive discomfort, and people with low blood pressure should use it cautiously. At this stage, many people realize something unsettling: even when diet improves and blood sugar stabilizes, kidney damage can still progress silently because of chronic inflammation. This is the final piece most people overlook, and it's where turmeric becomes far more than a kitchen spice. When used correctly, it acts like invisible armor, protecting kidney cells from damage that medications and detox foods often fail to address. I once saw a man in his late 50s who came in with mild kidney inflammation. He wasn't severely ill, but his creatinine levels had been creeping upward, and he relied heavily on painkillers for joint discomfort. Over time, those medications were quietly increasing the burden on his kidneys. Instead of escalating treatment, I asked him to make one careful change: incorporate turmeric regularly into his meals and drink warm turmeric milk in the evenings, moderately, consistently, and correctly. 3 months later, his follow-up test showed something encouraging. His inflammatory markers dropped, kidney values stabilized, and he reported deeper sleep and less joint pain. What protected his kidneys wasn't a stronger drug, it was reduced inflammation at the cellular level. Science explains why. Turmeric's active compound curcumin is one of the most studied natural anti-inflammatory agents. Research shows curcumin helps reduce oxidative stress, suppress inflammatory signaling pathways, and slow fibrotic changes in kidney tissue. Chronic inflammation is a major driver of kidney scarring over time, especially in people who regularly use pain medication or live with metabolic conditions. Reducing that inflammation can significantly slow kidney decline. As Dr. Mark Ellis, I often warn patients that kidneys rarely fail from one dramatic event they wear down from years of quiet irritation. Turmeric doesn't stimulate the kidneys. It shields them, helping preserve what function remains. When paired with black pepper curcumin absorption, increases dramatically, making even small amounts effective. Turmeric can be used simply added to soups, stews, fish, or taken as a warm drink at night, but caution is essential. Excessive doses can irritate digestion or affect people with gallbladder issues or bleeding disorders. Used wisely, however, turmeric becomes one of the safest long-term allies for kidney protection. Before we finish, I want you to remember one important thing: you are not too late. Kidney health doesn't disappear overnight, and meaningful improvement doesn't require expensive treatments or drastic changes. What truly matters is awareness, consistency, and choosing the right habits before silent damage goes too far. Even small adjustments, what you eat, how you sleep, how you manage blood sugar and inflammation, can slowly but powerfully reduce the burden on your kidneys over time. As Dr. Mark Ellis, I've seen this again and again. People who decide to care for their kidneys early often regain better sleep, more energy, and peace of mind they thought was gone forever. If this video helped you understand your body better, I encourage you to save it so you can come back and apply these steps at your own pace, or share it with someone you care about who may need this information. And if protecting your kidneys, avoiding dialysis, and aging with strength truly matter to you, please subscribe to this channel. Every week I share clear, evidence-based medical knowledge, simple, practical guidance designed to help you care for your kidneys safely and naturally without fear or confusion. Most importantly, don't lose hope. Your body's always responding to what you give it. When you support your kidneys with the right foods, balanced habits, and informed choices, you're not just protecting an organ, you're protecting your independence, your sleep, and your quality of life as you grow older. Take care of yourself, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next video.